As mentioned in our previous video titled 2023 Private Equity Insights from Mink's World Tour, we talked about when we went to Luxembourg and met with the team from the European Investment Fund, the EIF, to discuss private equity and venture capital investing in Europe. After all, who better to talk to in Europe than the European Investment Fund, the largest investor in private equity and venture capital funds in Europe? Now, before I continue, just to throw in a disclaimer, the views expressed in this video do not necessarily reflect the views of the EIF, and the mere appearance of the EIF employees in this video does not constitute an endorsement by EIF or its affiliates of the video content. Now, when it comes specifically to venture capital in Europe, we spent a lot of time talking to Bjorn Tremery, the head of technology at the EIF. We asked Bjorn about some of the main factors that caused the growth in the European venture capital market over the last 10 to 20 years. And among other things, he told us about the Mafia that grew venture capital in Europe. I was intrigued to learn more. You see, I'm from Toronto, and in North America, we also have a mafia that has created hundreds of billions of dollars in value through the venture capital ecosystem. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, I'm talking about the PayPal mafia. The early employees and founders of PayPal have gone on to create extremely valuable companies. Included in the PayPal mafia are Elon Musk, who is building Tesla and SpaceX; Reid Hoffman, who founded LinkedIn; Peter Thiel, who co-founded Palantir and the Founders Fund; and many others, including founders of YouTube, Yelp, and many other well-known companies. So that's the PayPal mafia in North America. When Bjorn started talking about the mafia that grew venture capital in Europe, I started to think, what company had a group of people, a mafia, that could have sparked the venture capital growth in Europe? Can you guess what that company is? I'll give you a hint. If you have been following our YouTube channel for a while, you'll remember that we mentioned this company in our video titled, Who Invests in Private Equity? This company was an example of one of CPP Investments' successful direct private equity investment. Any idea? Well, the answer is Skype. Skype is the online messaging, voice, and video calling platform that was around before Zoom, Google Meets, and Microsoft Teams existed. In 2003, Skype was founded in Europe, and within 2 years, in 2005, it was sold to eBay for approximately $2.6 billion. In 2009, private equity firm Silver Lake, among others, including CPP Investments and Skype's co-founders that sold in 2005, invested in Skype at a valuation of $2.75 billion. And in 2011, Microsoft bought Skype for $8.5 billion. Over the years, many early employees of Skype gained tremendous experience and have now created, grown, and invested in many leading companies in Europe. And because of this, the early employees and founders of Skype are now known as the Skype Mafia. In this video, we will talk about 3 successful companies that were started by members of the Skype Mafia. We will talk about Wise, Atomico, and Starship. And we'll end the video with a final thought. So let's get started with Wise. TransferWise, or commonly referred to as Wise, helps people and businesses make international payments at a low cost. The idea came from Tavit Henriques, the first employee of Skype. Tavit was living in London and Skype was in Estonia. So by the time Tavit collected his money from Estonia to the UK, after transfer and currency conversion fees, a lot of the money was missing due to fees. Taavet was originally from Estonia and met a fellow Estonian in London by the name of Kristo Carmen. Kristo was sending money from the UK back to Estonia fairly often. So Taavet and Kristo made a deal. Taavet would use his Estonian account to send money to Kristo's Estonian account, and in exchange, Kristo would use his UK account to send Taavet money to Taavet's UK account. They would calculate the exchange rate using the rate they found on Google, not an adjusted bank rate that included lots of fees. This saved Taavet and Kristo both a lot of money. Taavet and Kristo built this idea into Wise, which made them both billionaires. Even though Taavet is the current chairman of Wise, he is an active angel investor in Europe with over 100 investments, including Bolt, the ride-sharing company, which has grown to a lot more than ride-sharing, Zego, a property management automation company, and Verif, the global identity verification service company. So, as a member of the Skype Mafia, Taavet has contributed to the growth of the European venture capital industry. Now let's move on to Atomico. Atomico is a venture capital company that was founded by Niklas Zennström, the co-founder of Skype. While running Skype, Niklas had a lot of trouble raising money from European venture capital funds. So, when he sold his stake in Skype to eBay in 2005, he wanted to help change the European venture capital landscape. And so he founded his own venture capital firm called Atomico in 2006. Since then, Atomico has made over 100 investments in leading companies, including the Swedish fintech company Klarna, the German aerospace company Lilium, that has developed the Lilium jet, and MessageBird, headquartered in the Netherlands with offices around the world. In addition to these investments, in 2009, Niklas was involved in the consortium that bought back Skype from eBay for $2.7 billion. And then he sold it again in 2011 to Microsoft for $8.5 billion. For those of you that are not so good at math, $8.5 billion is a lot more than $2.75 billion. So with that deal, Niklas had even more capital to put to work to help continue to build the European venture capital industry. So as a member of the Skype Mafia, Niklas has contributed to the growth of the European venture capital industry. So let's move on to Starship. Starship Technologies, or Starship, develops autonomous delivery vehicles to help with food and other delivery. The company was founded by two of Skype's co-founders, Jonas Friis and Ati Hille. The company is trying to change the way delivery is done around the world and has partnered with many organizations, including Verif, one of the investments of Skype's first employee, Taavet, that we talked about earlier in this video. By building Starship and being involved in other initiatives, these two members of the Skype Mafia have contributed to the growth of the European venture capital industry. Now, here's a final thought. At the time when Skype was founded, many European startups would have to go to the US for funding. Venture capital in Europe was small at the time and usually would focus on investing in ideas that have already been proven out in North America. Investors, things have changed. You now have a developed market of venture capital funds in Europe to invest in, thanks in part to the Mafia, the Skype Mafia. In this video, we talked about 3 successful companies that were started by members of the Skype Mafia. We talked about Wise, Atomico, and Starship. Do you know of any other companies that were started by members of the Skype Mafia? If so, please share them in the comments below so that other viewers can learn from your post.